Time for my auspicious monologue. Auspicious op-ed. Rock on. Okay, let's go. So, civil discourse, dissidence, and the value of compulsory punitive measures are concepts evolving and mutating before our very eyes at a rate I could have never imagined without experiencing the acceleration of events personally. The absolute confidence of the effectiveness of compliance to avert punitive measures, commonly misconstrued as some form of ethical virtue or social construct, is what drives the vast majority of legislation across the Western world. Without any form of input or recourse, the ordinary citizenry, who supposedly have rights protecting their freedoms, are nothing more than the victims of neo-slavery and mentalcide. We don't live in democracies for a very good reason. Read Plato's Republic for more on how it is a form of populist fascism via mob rule. We live in a constitutional republic to protect us from the dangers of autocracy, democracy, communism, theocracy, technocracy, oligarchy, allegedly, and most importantly, totalitarian authoritarianism of any flavor or persuasion. Doublespeak is everywhere, so stay keen to the manipulations and deception employed through the abuses of language and literacy found to be historically common in the methodology of all communist, socialist, and fascist authoritarians worldwide. Alleged wrongthink is running just as rampant in turn, fueled by the censorship initiatives of the elites through the lockstep conformity the professional managerial class prides themselves upon and eagerly arms themselves with a highly charismatic and equally false sense of virtue they choose to wield as shield, weapon, and one-up alike. Wrong speech is only possible when freedom of speech is lacking. While understanding and sincerity are only possible when freedom of speech is an inherent given that is quite literally required for logic to exist as valid, post-truth is the blatant dishonesty that led us here. Hurt feelings was the excuse, while anti-bullying was the catalyst to these artificial conditions and blatant dishonesty that set the tone for a collective of codependent, emotionally dependent, lesser narcissists. It's like predative parasitism. Is this the result of postmodernism or that of similar stigmatized philosophies? I would caution that pointing the finger in such a direction is unwise, as correlation is not equivocal to causation or association. I think it's much more important to look at whose voices rose to prominence as an influence, what their motives were, and that they all had the motives of a spoiled, rotten brat. The people who have been at the helm of all major civilizations have made it to where they are, by pleasing the desires and espousing the values of those they demand external validation from. The volatile and equally vile notions pursued are so foul that they cannot be enacted or upheld without a system of bureaucracy to circumvent the inevitable bloodshed that would ensue without such a buffer. When it is referred to as the beast system and you're warned about Babylon, let's think about what Antichrist actually means. Would Christ stand for a bunch of leaders who make the money changers at that temple back in like the Bible look like HR puffin stuff? No, I don't think so. Let's think about what Satan really means, which translates to great adversary or deceiver. When a government, when has a government not acted in a satanic, idolatrous, murderous way? Either literally or in hyperbole. Every act of legislation I have learned about or experienced appears to be an act of tyranny, carefully disguised against the people. Anarchy is a societal construct that simply lacks a hierarchical structure. The common misuse of the word as some form of violent cataclysm is a prime example of the indoctrination and doublespeak that has perpetuated the devolution of language, culture, and civility. Anarchy is peaceful, so it should be fairly obvious that every authoritarian wants you to believe that it is a dangerous and violent condition. They then encourage the furthering of the lies and indoctrination that lead to broken communities, families, individuals, cultures, and promises. It is their power strategy and structure through and through that they are unable to think from other perspectives, it would seem, because other perspectives wouldn't hold such a power advantage. Without a hierarchy in place, the experts and authorities have no power to oppress at will. Without indoctrination, oppression, abuse, and coercion present, there is no groundwork to hold a hierarchical system in place or drive its dysfunctional operation and motivations. Fear anarchy. That's a trap if I ever heard of one, because anarchy is a peaceful existence where you have a society in which everyone is an equal to everyone else with no artificial power structure forced upon them, forced upon the citizenry as a whole in any way. Totalitarians rely on reducing and retarding everyone so that they might prevail. And I am here to blow the lid on all their plans I come across. Welcome to the Great Resist. That's our show for today.